See, all of my life I dance to your tune. Don't staying on beat, don't staying on tempo. As a youngin', I followed your
Growing up,
footsteps.
I was
Feeling like I'm
told
in your shadow. Of a song I
I
live.
was
Playing the portray, the character play. All the stress on
set
my
apart,
shoulders away. Not
right?
walking my side, but walking my face. So much
That
I
my life
pray.
was
That
different,
all of the trouble and
higher,
all of the
more
struggles
intentional,
and all of the battles
and no
will
one
be on my
truly
travels as I find my own way. No more follow the
warned me
leader, I
that
got my
being
own
set
games to
apart
play.
can
I'm
also
a childhood preacher,
mean
I
being
got my own
alone.
things to say. As I go out on my own,
This
making
episode is
choices
about
like
the
a pro,
loneliness,
trying to be
the
in my
quiet
own
kind that
zone. I
doesn't
still
always have
choose on
words.
the throne, thinking like the one above. I'm
Welcome
gonna
back to
choose
Into the Dark with the PK. I'm Ari. Being set apart is something that just sounds good. But as a kid, what it really meant was don't do too much, don't say too much, and don't mess this up. It meant watching other kids live freely while you learn how to self correct. I wasn't just making choices for myself, I was protecting a reputation. I learned early that not everyone felt safe. Friends were friends until they knew too much, until they slipped up, until I realized I was carrying more responsibility than they were. Sometimes it felt easier to stay a little distance because distance felt safer than disappointment. It got real lonely as a kid, being a preacher's kid. It did. And the loneliness was loud. No one talks about how lonely it can be to always be the stronger. To always seem like you got it together, you know? When you raised to lead, to serve, to be spiritually mature, there isn't much room left to just be a kid. I didn't always feel misunderstood. I just felt unseen, really. Um, I guess because I wasn't able to be my true self, you know? And, looking back, I think that the loneliness shaped how I related to people. It made me, it made independence feel safer than intimacy. It made self resilience feel like strength. Even even though it was me protecting myself. When connection feels risky, you learn how to be okay on your own, even when you don't actually want to be. And me, where I'm at now, I value my space and my alone time. But I don't actually want to be alone. But, let's break it down. There were moments when me being alone brought me closer to God, and moments where it made me feel further away from people, even from myself, and even from my faith sometimes. I don't think that means something was wrong with me. I think it means I was human. But my loneliness also did contribute to a lot of, not a lot of, but it did contribute to me being depressed. And the loneliness didn't just come from, me being a preacher's kid. Like, my dad wasn't just a preacher. He did other things um, like I said in the first episode, he had a shop that he worked on cars. So he was always working. So it was really just me, and that got lonely in itself. Um, if you grew up, similar to that, then I'm sure you know, you might understand, if you felt different but didn't know how to explain it. If you learned how to stand alone before you learn how to ask for help. I want you to hear this, that loneliness makes sense. Um, I don't know, like in my loneliness, in my time with myself, I learned to write because I've written, 2 books, and that writing became my outlet. Also, music, I grab hold of music real strong, um, and taking pictures and stuff. I lean more into my artistic ways. I was very involved with like sports as well when I was in school. But just because you're around people don't mean you can't feel lonely as well. I think that being alone can be a blessing and a curse at the same time. Like, as a kid, it could do some damage. But as an adult, you learn how to sit with it. You learn how to navigate it. You you learn about being alone, and that is not really bad. You know, um, I me personally, I felt more alone because of my sexuality. You know, because that definitely sets you apart from a lot of people. And not a lot of people, agree with it. Everybody got their opinion on it. And it's who's gonna accept me. And being in the church, that ain't going. So you definitely alone there. Like, who you supposed to talk to when who you supposed to talk to in the church when how you feeling, they gonna send you straight to hell. You know what I'm saying? No thoughts, no, they ain't gonna think twice about it. They just gonna send you straight to hell and not care. And that's where I think the church became or felt unsafe, because these are supposed to be my people, but y'all gonna be the first ones to deny me, if you want to say it like that. Um, so it wasn't easy. You definitely learn to navigate in different ways. Um, some things you couldn't do. Like I said in the last episode, my dad wasn't strict, so he kind of let me go to certain parties and certain events and stuff like that. But like, I knew when I was out, like, you gotta act a certain way. So like, ain't really you ain't gonna have fun like a normal kid would that didn't have those stipulations, or that wasn't scared. Not gonna say that that was like required, but like still was fear, instilled in you, knowing that you gotta act right no matter what. Um, a lot of that shaped me, and I didn't realize it until I got into therapy. And therapy helped a lot, just kind of helped me dig into my past and like learn like what church taught me, or learn what church people taught me, or learn what I created because of the church, you know? Like, I learned to dislike myself and not love myself because of the church, because of the religion and the beliefs and stuff like that. And as I'm older, I'm like, nothing's different about me other than who I love, right? And to say that that's the only reason I'm going to hell, I don't believe it, you know? I felt like in the other language it meant something different, and it just the translations got mixed up, you know? Because you all I gotta have is the faith of a mustard seed. How does it make sense that just my sexuality is gonna send me to hell? I don't know, but that right there created a lot of time with myself, because I didn't feel like I'd be accepted, not just in the church but like in the world either, and I was scared. um and I don't know, it took me until 2023, I believe, is when I had my therapist to help me figure out who I was, right? That's the only thing I wanted this therapist for, was to help me figure out who I was or who I am. And by that time, I had published 2 books, and I had a clothing brand, and I think I was in school. Not too sure, but she helped me. She's like, who are you, right? I'm like, I don't know. That's what you're here for. And I don't really go by Ariel. I prefer to go by Ari, because Ari's on everything. So like my clothing line is RB. On my books is RB. On anything that I do, business wise or creative, in a creative aspect or whatever that I'm putting out there, is RB. So it's like, that's what she was trying to get me to connect, was to connect Ariel and RB together. So it's just like, okay, Ariel, you a writer, RB's a writer. Then put it together. It's just like, you know. But it's like, I'm a writer. I'm a clothing brand owner. And and I didn't give myself credit for what I had already accomplished. I didn't give myself credit for the things that I was doing, and it took a therapist. It took me going to therapy to realize, like, hey, you need to love yourself. You need to love on yourself. You need to realize, hey, you are doing good things. Like, people would tell me, oh, I look up to you. Oh, I know you gonna make it. Oh, I know da da da. And I'm looking like, am I? Like, how y'all see that in me and I don't even see it in myself, you know? And, I realized that I was actually scared of failing, right? That was what I said. But I actually was scared of succeeding. Like, it's like, what do you do when you get there, you know? It's like, I'm back in the limelight. I'm back trying to keep up something that I started. And it's like, with this, I'm trying to be my authentic self. So it's like, so I can connect and it be true, and it's not nothing I have to keep up. I could just be myself, So this is like honestly the quiet, in the dark thoughts with yourself that you wouldn't have with no one else, or even just those, just you and your friend laid back, just talking type conversations. This is what this is for, and I'm gonna let y'all in, more and more each episode, because it's a lot to unpack, it's a lot that being a preacher's kid can do, you know. Um, let's see, just being lonely. That word is it just sounds sad, you know. But being alone doesn't sound too bad to me, because, like, okay, you can choose to be alone. And loneliness don't really seem like a choice. And sometimes we all just need to be alone sometimes, because people can be overstimulating, people can be overbearing, people sometimes need to be alone from your pet. Sometimes you just need your self time, time to take care of yourself, time to really, love on you and just you. So like if you're married or you have kids, be alone. Find that time, that time where you put the kids down and it's time for bed and you got 30 minutes to yourself. Take it. Or when you a hot bath, play some music, light some candles, and just unwind, relax, and just unload the day. Don't take every day into a new day. It just all the struggles, all the pain, all the frustrations from the day before, just throw it in the trash. Try your best to let go and move forward and start the next day as a new day. Sometimes that being alone, you what you see things differently. You see things not with everybody in your ear. You dealing with things yourself. You're able to talk to yourself, able to basically able to distinguish your emotions and how you feel. If you're really sad about a situation, or you just was sad because everybody said you were supposed to feel sad, or just break down your day and like, okay, that was a tough day, made it through. Tomorrow's a new day, new opportunities, new everything. So let's get it. Prepare yourself, hype yourself up for the next day, because it's we go day by day. All we got is ourselves. I mean, you got kids you gotta take care of. Take care of the kids, but you can't take care of the kids if you don't take care of yourself. So that alone time is very, very important. That self-care time is very important. You need to make sure that you're taking time to yourself to heal, to rest, to just unload, because life gets heavy. Life is a roller coaster, a whole bunch of ups and downs, and unwinding is something that's definitely like needed, So, but also like, being alone and being different isn't bad, because I feel like being built different is what's gonna make me great. Because I'm not built like nobody else, I could say I love different, I my intentions are pure, and I don't I don't do nothing to try to get no bad karma. You know what I'm saying? Because karma is yeah. I don't even try to play with her. You know what I mean? Because, like, I always feel like I'll be the one that guy slap his sandal on the back of my neck for trying. I ain't the one. But, like, I say being built different is definitely something that's good. Being set apart can be good. You know what I'm saying? Just learn how to take advantage of it and be happy. Be you. You know? Make the most out of every day. Whether you're alone, whether you're surrounded by love, whether you're surrounded by a whole bunch of people, make the most of it. Enjoy it, you know, and just remember, you know, being set apart doesn't mean you were meant to be alone forever. You know, sometimes it just means you're still learning how to reconnect with yourself, with others, with what feels, you know, true. And that's where I want us to connect at, you know? So in the next episode, we'll talk about people pleasing and how it quietly becomes a survival skill, okay? So thanks for sitting in the dark with the PK. I'll see y'all next episode. Go follow my TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, all the links below. Thank you for watching.
I'm a childhood preacher, I got my own things to say.